Your entry into State House Girls.
Okay, so I'm accepted into State House Girls, and my parents are like, just go, just so that you're not behind. Because me, I'm like, man, I didn't make it. And they're like, okay, maybe State House Girls is not it. Let's see if we're gonna send you to Kianda or something. But just go to State House Girls for now, for Form 1, and then we figure out what's gonna happen. So I go to State House Girls, and I'm just heartbroken. I'm not believing, like, this is actually my reality. But in my head, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. Let me just go for Form 1, and then
Kianda, here I come.
Kianda, here I come, because this is not my reality. So now this is where I actually, when I said in Makini, I had my first taste of classism. State House Girls is where niliingia PhD program. And I'm really grateful for the experience, because I didn't understand how privileged I was. I didn't understand how much I had. Because I was always looking up. I was always looking at the ones who had more. Now I'm in a situation of people who, the fees is 10 Gs, 20 Gs, but they're being sent home.
And pocket money yako.
And okay, it's not my pocket money, but I've never experienced being sent home for fees. I've never experienced that. I'm in a provincial school. So this school has girls from all over the city. They're the Barbies, and then they're the ones who have come from like
hard knock
life. And so it was a bad thing to be a Barbie. Being a Barbie is not a cool thing. Whereas in Makini, it's how Barbie are you? Like, what you got? What car are you driving?
What shoes you wearing?
What shoes are you wearing? Here it's like, oh my gosh, it's a bad thing that I speak English. I'm trying to sound hood, like trying to sound like Nyaje, because I'm like, oh, it's a bad thing to be a Barbie. Like, I really felt that, like, oh my gosh, I have to hide it. I have to pretend. I have to like try to fit in. Because being a Barbie is not a good thing.
And you're like, I'm a Barbie? I didn't know I was a Barbie. I didn't know I was a Barbie.
I didn't know I was a Barbie, but at State House Girls, it's the first time I washed my own laundry. It's the first time I wiped a floor. It's the first time I did so many things, because I didn't even realize nilikuwa soft life. Me, I'm thinking my soft life is the ghetto, because we don't have a Pajero or a Range Rover, whatever, you know.
I get it.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you've shared that. I don't think sometimes people can understand that. Like what you've said right now, like me, I've resonated with that completely.
Really?
Yeah. So and I think there's a beauty in understanding that. A beauty in understanding, oh my God, I'm blessed. You may be blessed and not know you're blessed.
Yeah.
But there's a beauty in understanding what we actually have. God has blessed us with this. I'm not as there are people who are worse off.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the time then now in State House Girls. Because your mentality where I'm hearing right now is like, this is just for a term.
Yeah.
I'm going to my Barbie school.
Of course, and then realizing how many kids have been told that, and we're like, even you were told that, even you were told that. And people be like, you're going to be here till Form 4. Get comfortable. You ain't going anywhere. Yep. And there are other Barbie kids who actually leave. Like the Barbie friends, the guys who are my crew in Form 1, they all left me.
Also, there's some guys you came with from Makini.
Yeah. From Makini or from other private schools who ended up in State House. But very many of, at least the ones who I was friends with, they left. They actually went to a better school, because now this is the first time I'm experiencing public education. So where in Makini the teachers like are drilling you, they're making sure you understand, you can go and ask for like tutoring or remedial classes, or they are making sure you understand and you know this thing back to front. Now experiencing teachers who walk into class and are teaching you maths in the air. Like they don't even want to stand and be like to let their family. They're like, so vectors, you have one here, you have another one here. So you're just like, what is this? I don't understand. Like, what? Excuse me. So the level of education.
You felt the difference?
What? or where the teacher just doesn't show up. Like, I remember signing up for the music program and there was just no teacher. So we just go into the music class and make noise for like the whole hour, and having to be like, okay, maybe I should just switch to another subject because like there's just no teacher. So now, like, just going from like top notch to be like, this is what my hard work got me. Like, I'm now in just, what is happening? It's just like,
what is life?
And not feeling like I had like, it was heartbreaking because I knew what I was capable of, and I didn't feel like this place is matching like my hunger to learn and to excel and to, it's all on you now. If you're gonna pass, it's all on you. We used to help each other. Like, so you've understood this topic. Okay, now you show us what you've learned. Like, it was very like tusaidiane. But there were some really good teachers.
Yeah.
But it all depended on what class you are. So
and
that class has the really dope chemistry teacher. That class has the really dope maths teacher. It was very just not what I was used to.
Hey, you are blowing my mind. Like, I've never been to a public school, so a lot of the stuff that you're telling me, I learned maybe when I would tour with Kekru, and I'd see, when we would tour with Kekru, and I'd see different environments in Kenya. So the Kenya Highs, the State House girls, the Wagushiri girls, like, you'd see a different mix. But to hear you speak of it from this perspective, I'm just like, okay, I'm beginning to understand your life more. So at this time, are you falling in love with music?
Oh yes, I'm falling in love with music. As State House girls, what I really loved about it, it had a strong art culture.
Nice.
So I see the benefit of me being there. Whereas before I was more academic driven, like pass. Here is now a place where it's like, oh, choir, drama, funkies. Funkies were so interesting. CU, so worship team. Like, there's a lot of music, there's entertainment, there's like, there was a culture of performance.
And did you submerge yourself into that culture?
Completely. Form 1, I went for all the funkies. So I was like, I'm only here for a year. Let me do all the things. Wacha niende choir, wacha niende drama. See you were inside. And then like Akina Kekru would come to our school. Like, this is the time of what was it called? This thing for Akina DJ Josh. JC's group. Yeah, so they'd come to our high school, Akina Kekru. And, you know, it was so exciting. Yeah. It was exciting. That element of the school was so exciting. And I'd never experienced that before. Did
you feel like you stood out? Or did you feel like you were, okay, in this one I'm class A music team. Did you feel like, okay, I have a gift that is excelling beyond other people? Maybe I could write my own songs, or I could hit my vocals were better, or did you feel like you...
I wanted to stand out. I didn't really stand out, like, when it came to like, oh, let me perform and do the things. It was something like, oh, I wish I could. But I was still very shy. I was in a singing group, and we used to call ourselves the Jesus Freaks, but it was mostly for ourselves. We would just sing to ourselves. But not necessarily feeling. We actually had celebs in the school. This is what was so interesting about State House girls. There were people who were celebs. Like, size 8 was a celeb in the school.
So, hold on, size 8 was in State House girls?
Yeah, she was in my year.
Oh, in your year?
In my year, bro. And she was like a celeb. I remember she used to sing Amazing Grace, and people would lose their minds. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, I wish I could do that. Or like, there's a group called Natena with Olga Oyer. I don't know if you know Olga Oyer, which is the sister of the Oyer brothers. And they had like a singing group, and they were like a celeb group. Like, they had a hit song that they would perform at CU. So there's now that desire for, wow,
and I want to be like that. Well, how many guys? Like 90 guys?
We were 4 of us, but I don't think we even ever performed. We just used to be like, let's sing for ourselves. But wow, those celebrities. It's so weird. Yeah.
No, but Saizet was gifted. Saizet needs to come to this because she was even picked out by she was
She
even
went
picked out to
Hillcrest.
Lucas from that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but back to you, friends. At this time, are you now decided? Okay, I'm not going anywhere. I'm sure by the end of Form 1, you're like, yo, I'm not going anywhere.
Yo, hatuendi mahali, so I guess we need to survive here. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So did you adapt? Did you be like, okay, this is it. This is it.
Yo, I think I don't even speak Sheng well, but at least I can hold a conversation in Swa now, and it's because of my time at State House Girls. I often think like if I didn't go to State House, I think I'd be so disconnected from everything. Like I had to adapt. I had to learn. I had to be like, okay. And what was so strange was I think that's where I learned how to switch myself. That's where I learned how to switch. Like, oh, here I can be like this, here I have to be like this, here I have to, like, learning how to and it's something that I'm unlearning now, but I learned how not to be myself.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's deep. That's deep. So at all times. So you give... Not
at all times. There were people that I was safe with, very few. But especially in the beginning, it was very like, unless I feel safe, I'm going to present the me that I think is acceptable. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So what happens now? Okay, 2 questions. Let me start with the first one. First one being, this is 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005. Kenya music is blowing up at that time. What's happening for you? What are you listening to musically?
So I'm a CU girl, so I'm listening to a lot of gospel. I'm listening to Akina Porcupine, DJ Josh. I'm listening to SK Blue, Gospel Fathers, DNG. I'm in this world.
And DNG was in Makini as well.
Yeah, he was in Makini. He lived in Gumo.
Oh yes, yeah. So
I'm listening to a lot of gospel. Kwanza Gospel Fathers were huge. Whoa. I'm a CU babe 100%. But of course, Klepto is big, and there'd be like nights for entertainment, usually after visiting day. So they'd play a lot of local music, and then we'd watch a movie as a school. Yeah, so... that was an exciting time because there was also like Miss Tato. That was an event, so they'd bring artists in, or there'd be a DJ, and then we were playing Kenyan music. So Kenyan boy, Kenyan girl is bumping by Nazizi and Waire. Like, it's like the golden era of Kenyan music.
And did you want to be a part of that golden era? Did you ever, because it's one thing to listen, but then as a musician, are you feeling like, wouldn't mind dropping a single or two?
So, interesting enough, it was not really my dream.
What's your dream at that time?
I wanted to be an ambassador. I had an auntie who was a diplomat. She was the ambassador of Rwanda to Kenya. And just seeing how she was balling, she had a driver, she lived in a mansion. I was like, I want to do that. What do I need to do? International relations at USIU? Okay. That was what I was thinking. I was like, I want to be a boss babe like this. So I love music, but I wasn't necessarily thinking this is what I want to do with my life. I did have a phase where I was like, I'd love to make like a gospel album, because I was listening to Out of Eden, Mary Mary, Trinity 5-7. I was really into like the gospel girl groups, and I was like, that would be really cool.
I get it.
But not if you were to look around and be like, who's making a career out of that, it felt more like a hobby than this is what I want to do with my life. Okay,
there's a huge thing that you've said about, and I just want to speak about a bit about that, about going to Rwanda, because you said you went to Rwanda after the genocide.
Yeah.
And that's maybe then the late 90s. Can you remember the first time going back to Rwanda?
Yeah, definitely.